Well, I only know one way to be, and that is I bring everything that I know and all my experiences with me, and I bring a good arsenal of hit songs and great musicians. So we play what I believe the people came to hear, the hits, and then we bring a few extra things that they didn't know about. Some new material, but we don't weigh our show down with new material because we think that people don't really like that. They like to hear what they know first. And then if you got something else to add, that's different. Every night is a challenge. I have to do what they pay me to do, and that is to make people glad they came to the show. That's a challenge. I enjoy every night because I never expected to do any of this stuff. I always felt like a scientist when I was a kid. I would have probably made a great scientist or a doctor because I like solving problems, and that's what I did with music. I hear a song and I hear the boring parts of the song. I say, oh man, this is boring. Let me fix this on Broadway. On Broadway. Did the boom, boom, boom. Just what it needed. I didn't want to go beyond that because it didn't need anything beyond that. It had a good melody and good harmony, but it needed some excitement, and it was in the rhythm section. So I changed from what Quincy Jones described to me as a one-bar phrase. He used to go, and a great voice came. This is the neon light. This guy had a great voice. His name was Rudy. And I didn't want to record it because I had such respect for his voice. But the song bored me because it I said, I'm going to change that. Snap it. Boom, boom, boom. Second bar was different than the first bar. So it changed it from a one-bar phrase to a two-bar phrase. Cause I can play this here guitar, and I won't quit till I'm a star on Broadway. When I was coming up, my heroes, they were superstars. The great Jimmy Smith, great organist. He was one of the greatest musicians of any time period. He was unorthodox, played mostly from ear. He wasn't well schooled or anything. He taught himself. And he took a new instrument called the Hammond organ and mastered that and became a super giant star in the world of jazz organ. And one day he just got tired of playing his hits. He had a song called Walk on the Wild Side. It was, everybody just loved this song. But he said, I'm not playing that anymore. And I used to go to this concert and I'd wait for that song. And he said, I don't play that no more. I said, why not? I'm tired. I said to myself, I said, Redney, or if I ever get a song that people beg for, I ain't gonna never do what he did. And his career plummeted, boom, because he wouldn't play what people came to hear. And one day I was out with him after I became a star, and I realized his mistakes, because that's how you learn, from mistakes. It's what you do with minimal material. Take, for instance, the song Breezin'. The song Breezin' is so simple I didn't particularly want to play it because it starts with Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. That's the basics. Da, 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 da. I said, what am I supposed to do with it? Well, that's the challenge. You got to take a song that doesn't necessarily have anything to it and turn it into a piece of music. So that takes experiment. It takes knowledge of harmony and theory. Some songs lean more toward the rhythm aspect, you know. In that sense, African Americans have an advantage because we're born with Africa still in our blood. You know, we're born with rhythm. It's always there. But harmony, that's Western. That's harmony in theory is Western. It's based on concepts that were created 200, 300, 400 years ago. So we use what we have in addition to what's natural to form something that we believe is viable today. But don't ever be afraid. If you're talking to young musicians, don't be afraid. You know, today is only today. Tomorrow is another day. So we do what we can with what we know today, and we listen to other people. How did they approach this problem? And you add to your knowledge, and then one day you wake up and you're able to, you know. I didn't think I'd ever be able to play guitar anywhere near what we do now. But my father, who was on me all the time, made me practice, and he made me gather information. So that's how you do it. You keep adding to your information. Well, I think someone had a good idea. They wanted to connect it to New Orleans. New Orleans is a birthplace of jazz music. We recognize that in the United States. So it's a good beginning. If you're going to say jazz and you say New Orleans, then you hit the right note. Of course, my music is an extension of, that came out of New Orleans and went a roundabout route through bebop, modern jazz, R&B, gospel. I'm a combination of all those things, and pop music also. My greatest experience is in jazz because it taught me how to improvise. And improvisation is big time. It's like everything else. You get into a trap somewhere, you want to get out, you have to improvise. And so jazz has taught me how to improvise, to get out of hard situations. I'm playing and I get into a spot where I don't want to necessarily be, and I said, I got to get out of this. So I started using my experience with improvisation. So improvisation is big time.
If I had to live my life without you near me, the days would all be empty. The nights would seem so long. With you I see forever oh so clearly. I might have been in love before, but it never felt this strong.
A big mistake would be to change what they know. They came to hear what they know first. Now, if you got something to add after that, but you got to give them what they know first. They don't want anything different. Nothing's gonna change, but don't change that.
Nothing's gonna change my love for you. You ought to know by now how much I love you. One thing you can be sure of, I'll never ask for more than your love.
I learned this from Duke Ellington. He said, once a song becomes a classic, you don't mess with it, man. You leave it alone. And he was right. So I leave it alone. And it works.
Nothing's gonna change my love for you.
Well, live performances ask us for an immediate result. They say, okay, we came, what do you have for us? Why did we come here? And you have to answer that with something that is reasonable and something that is a powerful enough incentive for them to come back to the next show. Because if you don't answer that question now, they won't be back. We just bring what we've always brought to every performance, and that is every bit of information and talent that we have. We're anxious to show off what we know to new audiences every night. And we think that Macau has never heard us in our raw form and saw us and experienced us the way we truly are. Because there's a lot of musicianship in my band and in my brain. For the many years I've been playing music since I was a little boy, you know. And I hung out with the greatest musicians of all time. I played with Sinatra, Miles Davis, John Coltrane was my friend, Billy Eckstine. I substituted for Ella Fitzgerald with the Count Basie Orchestra 2 times. So, I mean, those are not small things in this world, you know. So I think we're qualified to come in and show off a little bit here in Macau. You heard my new album called Guitar Man. Wait till you hear Guitar Man. The very first day it came out, it went straight to the top of the jazz chart. Day one. Stayed there 25 weeks. Somewhere between 5 and 1 for 25 weeks. And we had a single, we did a Michael Jackson tune, which I recorded with an upright bass. And this was my idea. I said, okay, since we're not going to sell records in the numbers that we know, because, you know, we used to sell records in the millions and hundreds of thousands for years. We've sold 70 million albums or records. So we got enough sales, you know, we got enough money to eat and sleep off of, so I'm happy. But I said, since we're not going to sell big records, the expectation isn't high. Let's do something that means something, the history that will resonate. So we went in the studio and I asked my two favorite guys, two of my favorites, Harvey Mason and Joe Sample. And I said, well, we got to get a bass player. Bring somebody you think is competent. And when I got there, they had a kid. He looked like he was 12 years old. I said, who's this kid here? And they said, that's our bass player, George. I didn't question him, because if they bought him, I knew he must have had something on the ball. But he was an expert. What he did on the album is what made the album what it is. It is, I think one day it'll be considered a classic album because of this young fellow. His name is Ben Williams. He had just won a bass competition. He came out #1 in the competition, so they brought him to the date. And I didn't bother him. I don't believe in bothering musicians. If they're good at what they do, leave them alone. Let them be good. They might be good in a different way that you don't understand, but if the audience says they're good, they're good. That's what counts. So he played beautiful. My single that came out, the Michael Jackson song, Lady of My Life, was #1 longer than the album. Like #1 for 28 weeks. It was in the top 5 for 28 weeks. The first 20 weeks it was like #1 or 2. So the album is very successful critic-wise, not big numbers, but it'll never stop selling. And that's what record companies like, especially jazz record companies. They like catalog. And catalog just keeps selling year after year. It has destroyed the record industry as we know it. Digital downloading, where they pay 99 cents or $1.29 a record, has given somewhat of a respite, but naturally it does not cover. But the money is nowhere near what we used to do. We can't bargain with a record company now for the kind of dollars we used to get. We used to do multi-million-dollar contracts. That's gone, unless you're Lady Gaga. Those days are gone. That's what it has taken from us. But there is, you know, like everything else, we have to figure out. Success in my long career? I don't really think about the success part. I think about the main reason why they hired me, to reach the public, to play something that would arouse their interest, to make them pay attention to what we're doing. That's how you develop an audience. And when they're listening, then now you can say something to them. But until you get them listening, you're just another artist out there. They got millions of people who are out there plucking notes, you know, and doing whatever they do. But to find something that gets their attention and make them say, who is that? Now it's your turn. It's my turn to go out and say, well, my name is George Benson. Boom, you know. And then I show them things that they didn't believe I could do. And their response will determine how big of an artist I will be, or what I will mean in history. The great thing is, don't record anything that you're not prepared to play. If you're not going to play it, if you don't like playing it, don't record it. I love this masquerade. Nothing gonna change my love in your eyes, you know, turn your love around on Broadway. I love that stuff. I said, boy, if people want to hear it, I'm going to play it. And so when I play it, I'm very, very happy that it's a two-way street, that they came here to hear it, and what can I do to make them, you know, remember the thing that sparked it in their memory that made them love the song. So one day I was with Mr. Jimmy Smith. We were in a jam session. I said, Jimmy, let's play Walk on the Wild Side. He looked at me like, because you know I knew that he didn't want to play it. I said, man, cut the crap. Let's play Walk on the Wild Side. And he started playing it. Place went to the moon. I said, man, if you play this every night, you'll be a superstar again, and you'll be rich again. Yeah, 30 years ago, I tried to retire. Didn't work then. 20 years ago, I tried to retire. Didn't work then. 10 years ago, I tried. People won't let me retire. I moved to Hawaii 30 years ago, saying I'm gonna retire here in Hawaii, and I'll be a happy man. I had lots of money, I had a beautiful family, but they called me from places I never heard of to, you know, to play music. So that kind of thing is still going on, and I'm still saying I'm gonna retire. So.
You need that evening action, a place to dine, a glass of wine, a little romance. It's a chain reaction. You see the people of the world coming out to dance. Know that
People think that when they study scales, that they have the answer to improvisation. Scales are only to train your ear, so that you understand what ballpark you're in. Like if I play a song and it has a certain harmony to it, it only touches on certain scales, but you can play anything. Everything you play away from the root has an effect on the root chord. You know, it's a harmony note to the root, but it has a tension that's involved. Like the third has a tension, the fifth has a tension, and the flatted nine has a tension, and the flatted fifth. When I play, I turn those into chords. The flatted fifth to me is not just a note. It's a group of harmonies or chords that I can play based on the flatted fifth. And that's very, very important that they understand it, because music can be very boring when you don't understand harmony and you don't understand the flexibility and what you can do with the harmony. I learned it from people like Miles, and John Coltrane taught me what we call chord stacking. We take one chord and stack it on top of another. Then we stack another chord on top of that. So it gives us complex harmonies, but it all leads to the same place, because when it's all over, I'm back at home at the root. I think that's interesting.